Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on what is honestly a truly incredible journey. We're going to trace the path of a simple, humble leaf that literally crossed oceans, built massive empires, and sparked actual revolutions, right? Before transforming into the ultimate kitchen science that we all enjoy today. We're going from epic, world-shifting history all the way down to the exact, fail-proof scientific steps you need to brew the absolute perfect cup. Let's get into it. Just take a look at the staggering number on your screen. 3 billion. 3 billion with a B. Every single day, more than 3 billion cups of this stuff are consumed across the globe. Whether it's enjoyed by kings, factory workers, or soldiers, this drink is a daily ritual for nearly half the planet. That makes it the second most consumed beverage on Earth, literally right after water.
Okay, let's dive into this, because it really is a fascinating mystery, right? How exactly did a wild leaf, just drifting in the wind, become one of the absolute most influential products in human history? How did it go from an ancient curiosity to a commodity so insanely valuable that people were actually willing to fight wars over it? Well, to understand the science of the perfect cup, we first got to understand its monumental past. So let's look at the incredible global history of tea. Honestly, it reads way more like a geopolitical thriller than a recipe.
Chapter 1. The Global History of Tea. Our timeline starts way back, like 5 millennia ago, in ancient China, when wild leaves supposedly drifted into Emperor Shen Nong's boiling water. For centuries after that, it was a closely guarded, super exclusive luxury. But fast forward to the 1600s, and European merchants finally introduced it to the West. The result? An absolute global obsession. It spread like wildfire. By 1773, British taxes on this very leaf triggered the Boston Tea Party, which, as we know, was a direct catalyst for the American Revolution. So yeah, a simple drink literally changed the course of history. As trade routes expanded, this empire of tea just kept growing. In Japan, it evolved into a deeply spiritual tea ceremony, really emphasizing respect and mindfulness. But it was the British East India Company that turned it into a multi-million-dollar global behemoth. Realizing the unimaginable profits up for grabs, Britain decided to stop depending entirely on China. Instead, they began establishing massive plantations in Assam and Darjeeling over in India. They exported millions of pounds of tea globally, making it one of the most valuable commodities on the planet, and turning India into an absolute powerhouse of tea production. But here's the thing, with billions of cups poured daily and all this rich history, are you actually making it right? Here is a totally shocking reality for you. Almost 90% of households are brewing it incorrectly. No way, right? But think about it. We often find that our tea tastes completely different from one day to the next. Sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's bitter, sometimes it's just off. Well, that lack of consistency? It comes straight from ignoring the actual science behind the brew. Chapter 2. The Science of Perfect Masala Chai.
So, let's break this down. There are 4 absolutely crucial pillars to masala chai, and each one has a highly specific purpose. Think of water as your canvas. It's the base for extracting the flavors of your spices. The tea leaves, they provide the color, that bold flavor, and those vital antioxidant polyphenols. Then there's sugar. Now, sugar isn't just for sweetness. It actually dictates the thickness of your tea. And finally, milk, which is there to balance out the natural astringency and bitterness of the leaves. Knowing exactly when and how to combine these 4 pillars, that's the absolute secret to perfection.
So, the crucial point is that making tea is actually a highly structured 3-phase chemical process. First up, we have infusion, which is where we extract the spices into the water. Next is blooming. This is all about releasing the magic trapped inside the tea leaves. And finally, blending, where we introduce the milk to bring the whole shebang together.
Phase 1. Infusion.
All right, this is where you build the foundational flavor base of your chai. And the most important rule here? Temperature. You want to start by boiling your water on a super high flame. Here is the actual science of infusion. If you drop spices or ginger into cold water, you totally ruin the extraction process, and you basically guarantee a bitter cup. So only when the water is vigorously rolling and boiling should you add your spices. Oh, and here is a massive tip. If you use ginger, crush 2 inches of it, do not grate it. I repeat, do not grate it. Grating releases enzymes that make the tea overly bitter. Once your crushed ginger and spices are in, drop the heat to medium-low and let them boil for exactly 3 minutes to really infuse that water. You can even adapt this to the seasons, Throw in some fennel in the summer to cool the stomach, or use black pepper and saffron in the winter for a bit of extra warmth.
Phase 2. Blooming. Let's move to and see how this builds.
Okay, so the spiced water base is now ready, its color has changed, and it's time for the star ingredient. For authentic Indian masala chai, we use CTC tea leaves. That stands for crush, tear, curl. This processing method means the leaves are incredibly robust. They require serious heat to open up. You absolutely must boil these leaves in your spiced water for 3 to 5 minutes, and this isn't just for flavor. This specific boiling time is scientifically required to release those antioxidant polyphenols and achieve that deep, rich, beautiful color.
And right as those leaves start to bloom and settle in the pot, you need to do something very specific. Add your sugar right now, with the tea leaves. A lot of people wait and add their sugar at the very end with the milk, but scientifically speaking, melting sugar releases moisture. If you add it later, it literally thins out the dairy and totally ruins the consistency of the tea. So, put it in during the blooming phase to keep your chai nice, thick, and rich.
Phase 3. Blending.
This is the moment where our heavily spiced, perfectly bloomed water base finally meets the dairy. But watch out, because there is a massive pitfall here. Never, ever pour cold milk directly from the fridge into your boiling tea. Doing that causes a violent temperature shock. It stalls the cooking process, alters those delicate flavor compounds we worked so hard to build, and it actually causes the fats, the ghee, in the milk to separate and form this super unpleasant layer on top. Yuck. Always take your milk out of the fridge beforehand so it's sitting at room temperature. This ensures continuous cooking and a perfect, creamy blend.
Now, what's really interesting here is how the specific fat content of your milk actually acts as a flavor controller. It entirely dictates the final profile of your tea. Milk balances the astringency of the tea leaves, right? So if you want a rich, creamy, Shahi-style tea, go with full cream milk. If you prefer a more robust, strong kadak chai, where the tea leaves really punch through, use toned milk. And if you're just looking for that perfectly balanced everyday cup, standard cow milk is exactly what you need.
Once your room temperature milk is in, let it come to a boil on medium heat. But whatever you do, don't just stand there watching it. Grab a ladle and aerate the tea. Scoop it up and pour it back down, continuously. This tossing action is absolutely crucial. It maintains an even temperature throughout the whole pot and literally forces the milk and the spiced water to blend flawlessly together. The final touch, aroma. At this point, your tea is fully cooked. The color is vibrant, the bubbles are thick, which tells you the water and milk are perfectly bound. Now, you strain it into your cup. But remember, taste is heavily influenced by what we smell, so as soon as you turn off the heat and strain your tea, you want to give it a sensory finish. Take just a tiny pinch of cinnamon powder or maybe some freshly ground cardamom seed powder and sprinkle it directly over the hot cup right before serving. The rising steam will catch those delicate oils, and before the tea even touches your lips, the aroma will completely take over your olfactory senses. It's magic. And that brings us to our final thought. The perfect cup of tea is truly an experience for all your senses, not just your tongue. When you follow this science, respecting the infusion, the blooming, the precise temperatures, you aren't just making a beverage. You're tasting the history of empires and the meticulous science of the kitchen, all in one perfect, consistent cup. So now that you know the hidden chemistry inside your teapot, it makes you wonder what other ancient, everyday rituals are sitting in your kitchen, just waiting to be brewed to perfection. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and seriously, enjoy your next incredible cup.